Today we are going to be talking about your student finances. Now, unless your dad is super rich, you're going to be pretty broke. But don't worry, your brother has you covered. I have started a broke student club and you're invited to join. Welcome back to another video. If you guys are new to the channel, my name is Anmol and today we're going to be talking about your living expenses when you come to the US for your education. Stay tuned. So the reason that we really need to talk about your expenses when you come to the US is because things are super expensive here, especially if you're coming from India. Everything seems to be overpriced and you're going to go in a shock. So hopefully if you watch this video, you will know what to expect and you will save yourself some heartache like I had to go through, but I think it's definitely worth watching it and getting it through. And also stick around till the very end and I'll just share tips with you that actually help me get through the expense part of the situation, and hopefully that helps you too. Let's talk about balance sheets. And now, since I'm a data scientist, let me put out some Excel sheets and charts. Kidding, you don't want that. So I'm going to just give you a high level overview. Stick with me. Also, in this video, I'm going to be talking about non-academic expenses. So academic expenses are basically going to be your tuition fees and the health insurance that you have to buy when you come in. So this video is just going to restrict on living expenses. And keep in mind, I'm trying to make the most budget-friendly option available because not everyone can afford like a very luxurious or expensive lifestyle. Some people do, some students do actually, but this is for more of the budget-friendly students. Now, before we actually take a deep dive into this situation, let me tell you this. Location is everything when it comes to your living expenses. I currently stay in LA and I pay almost $1,000 and have nothing. I barely have a room and my house does not have anything. Whereas a friend of mine who stays in Texas pays $1,500 and his house has a damn swimming pool in it. So yeah, location is everything and I'm so freaking jealous of him actually. Alright, grab a pen and paper because this is going to get heavy. Now, all your expenses can be divided into two parts, the recurring expenses and the non-recurring expenses. And the recurring expenses can be fixed and variable, whereas the non-recurring expenses are going to be fixed. Let's begin. When you come to the US, you'll have a lot of fixed costs associated when moving in. For example, a lot of houses are not furnished, so you have to get the basic stuff. That would include your mattress, that would include a chair and a table. And it's also going to include a lamp because a lot of places, believe it or not, don't have lights in it. So people actually buy floor lamps to that. And also you need a study table which has a light. So that's going to come in. What else do you need? To account for that, a lot of students actually end up buying a new laptop when they come to the US, and I would not necessarily it's the best option, but it is definitely an option that you can explore because if you come around the fall time, you would close to the Black Friday or the Cyber Monday deals, which is pretty decent. So if you're looking for a new laptop, hold off till you reach here and then actually buy it. Also, you will have to set up your own kitchen and the bathroom. Now, assuming that you're not getting a lot of stuff from India, which I would highly suggest, don't get it. You can get everything here and the amount of money you save for carrying all that luggage is simply not worth it. So yeah, bring basic toiletries and kitchenware that you might need for the survival of the first week or two, but after that, plan to buy everything here. So a lot of one-time expenses when it comes to, let's say, your kitchen would revolve around getting some basic utensils, some cutlery, microwave, a toaster maybe, and even a dustbin. And when it comes to the bathroom, you need to bring the basic toiletries, but everything else like a trash bag, floor mats, hand wash, everything else you should buy from here. And that's a bit expensive, and I would also suggest a lot of students, what they do is they just go to the dollar store and get the cheapest stuff available. I highly am against it because I did the same thing. Me and my roommates, we thought we were being smart. We buy everything from the dollar store. But what happens is there are only a few things that you should actually buy from the dollar store because not everything else is going to last. So if you're going to be staying for at least a year or two, buy something that will last a year or two rather than trying to just keep buying it again and again by going to the dollar store. Also, one of the major expenses that you might face when you come here, if your university is not into shuttles and you are staying slightly away from the campus, it is still a good idea to buy a cycle or a skateboard. I personally had a skateboard and that saved me a ton of money. Coming to the recurring fixed cost, this is the cost that you will be paying each and every month, and there's not a lot of legroom around it. For example, you have to pay your phone bill. So that can range from anywhere between $20 to $40, and that's going to remain same throughout the US. The second one is going to be a rent. Now, this is highly variable. A lot of students try to bunk in with a lot of other people, so that's dependent. And also the location. For example, what I paid in Los Angeles at $600, which was a bad room, whereas if I paid $600, and I was also sharing, by the way, whereas if I was in middle of Texas, I would have had my own room and I would be living the life. Yeah, rent is going to be highly variable, but just to give you a rough idea, you can expect to spend anywhere between 400 to 900 bucks, depending on your lifestyle. If you're ready to share a room, of course, it's going to be cheaper. If you're ready to get your own room, be ready to pay slightly more, but it depends on your situation. For some people, it is worth it. It helps them study, focus. And I'm not saying it's a good decision or a bad decision, but it's completely up to the person who's actually trying to get in. Is going to be grocery. Now, even the grocery prices differ from state to state. It's safe to assume that depending on your eating habits, if you're a vegetarian, it's going to be slightly more expensive. I know it sounds funny, you would expect non-vegetarians to pay more for food, but here in the US, vegetarian food is kind of rare and costs more if you go for organic stuff. But you can easily expect to spend anywhere between $20 to $30 or even $40 a week. The recurring variable cost. Now you've come all this way from India to US, and now you need to understand and explore the culture in US as well. Don't be too stingy with your money. I was like that when I came because I thought everything is too expensive and it is not worth it. But trust me, some of the experiences do require money, and they're definitely worth it because you sacrifice so much. You came away from your family, your friends, your relatives. So it does make sense that you do spend some time putting it into activities, maybe taking some classes at your college. Like I took archery for some time. There's so many things that you can actually explore. So do set aside a small amount of money to explore that, and also travel. Like, right, if you're near college and there are certain things that you really want to visit around, set aside a budget and actually go visit them with your friends. I have seen some people who are too stingy with their money. They just want to sit in the room, study all day and just graduate. That's fair. I mean, if you are into that kind of thing, that's fine. But then why did you come all the way from India to US to stay in your room and do nothing, basically just study? I know there's a lot of pressure of paying back loans and getting a job and all of that. Trust me, I was like that for my first semester, but the lesson that I learned after graduating was that it doesn't really matter. If you're very smart about spending your money and time, it is definitely really worth taking aside some amount of money and putting it into those activities. Now, those activities can be categorized as entertainment, an actual activity, the cab, and the food. So imagine if you're going out for food outside is slightly bit more expensive. So expect anywhere a meal costing you between $10 to $20, a decent meal. And second one is going to be cabs. Now cabs are here in terms of Uber and Lyft. You do ride sharing, but still they cost some money. So you can expect that every outing you're going to be spending around 20 to 80 bucks, depending on how far are you going and what time you're going at. If you want to go watch a movie or get involved in, let's say, stand-up comedy, you can expect to pay anywhere between 40 to 80 bucks. Or if you're going to join a club at your college or some local club that you want to participate in, like my friend joined pottery. I don't know why did she do that, but she did that. And that wasn't like very expensive. So you can expect anywhere to spend between 40 to 80 bucks a month, depending on what kind of a class it is. But my point is not about the money in this case. It's about trying to get the actual experience. My point about activities is definitely not about money. I know it charges money and it costs money, but here's my point. You've come all this way, so you need to definitely spend some time exploring your hobby and passion. You're so far away from home, so try and pick up a hobby or a passion. Like I took archery, some of my friends took pottery, and there's so many classes that happen on campus, but I rarely see any master students or international students engage in them. And it's fine, like there's so much pressure of studies and getting a job and so on and so forth, but these are experiences you're going to have once in a lifetime. So definitely set aside some money. I know it can get expensive, but trust me, it's definitely going to be worth it once you graduate and have a job. If the expenses haven't already given you a heart attack and you're still alive, stick with me. I'll give you some tips which actually helped me get through some of these expenses. So the first trick that really helped me was actually creating a budget. I never created a budget in my life. I never even actually cared how much money I spent. I always had that fixed 2,000 rupees in India for a month and I used to spend that. But here, for the first time, I actually opened an Excel sheet, wrote down my budget, what's my money that I'm earning from my student job, what are money that my bank is sending me, what the money my parents are sending me, and then what kind of fixed expenses and recurring expenses I have to take care of. Second most important factor is start building your credit history ASAP. Now the way you do that is first get an on-campus job ASAP. Try to get it one even before you actually come. So what will happen is you will first get an SSN. Now that SSN will start helping you build a credit history. Now once you have some kind of credit history, you can apply for cards. There are really cheap cards which don't even require an SSN. So start with them and then eventually build up a better credit by going for better credit cards. Now the trick with using credit cards is don't use them or use them very less, so that your credit utilization ratio is low and you start building your credit from the get-go. And trust me, this will help you in terms of finances later on in the future. Last and final tip that I really want to leave you with, which saved me a lot of money, is don't buy anything brand new. Your college has a lot of Facebook groups called free and for sale. Go on there. If you want to buy books, buy second-hand books. Don't need to buy first-hand books. Buy furniture second-hand. Because what has happened, the seniors have passed it on to their juniors, so on and so forth. You don't necessarily need to buy new stuff. Some stuff you need to buy new. For example, a mattress always has a case of bed bugs, and it can get really expensive if you get fined for that. Like, the mattress itself can cost, let's say, $60, but if you get bed bugs and you have to pay for it, can cost anywhere between 1,000 to 1,500. So it's definitely worth getting a new mattress. But then there are little things that you should definitely get first, and maybe like a broom or something. That's definitely a worthy investment because it's going to last you for 2 years. The best deals that you are ever going to get are going to be in the beginning of a semester and at the end of the semester. So just be lookout on those deals. Click on the notifications on those Facebook groups and be the first one to reach there. And all of them is up for negotiation because a lot of students are just trying to get rid of this stuff. So even if you have some negotiation in mind, you can definitely put it forward. They won't mind it because they themselves are students. Also, they graduated, they got a job, so they're not really that much worried about money. So yeah, I think that's the best way to go about it. I know a lot of students just take a trip to Costco or Walmart and they buy whatever they want in the beginning. Trust me, if you have the money, go ahead and do it. It's going to be a fun experience. There's a lot of excitement when you're trying to set up something so new. But if you're a budget-friendly student like me, try and look for those Facebook group deals. That I really want to leave you with is, don't be too stingy with your money. The moment I landed into the US, I was converting everything in from US dollars to INR, and I thought, oh my god, this stuff is worth 10 times more than I would have paid for it in India. And you know what? It takes time to get rid of that psychology. Also, it helps if you started earning on campus. But the point that I'm trying to make is, if you start converting everything, your life will be miserable like mine in the beginning. So the point you have to make sure is that you're following a budget so you don't feel guilty about spending it. For example, even if I had a meal outside, even when I actually needed to, I would feel guilty because I was like, hey, I could have just gone home and cooked. But that's not the point, right? Eating outside, having fun with friends, exploring places is all a part of your education. I know you don't think of it like this right now, but when you come here, you'll really see that you need to explore to be able to fully utilize the benefits of actually traveling abroad. It's not just for getting a job. It's not just for earning more money. It is a whole experience, especially cultural experience. Last tip I want to leave you regarding your budgeting is that, yes, it can get stressful when you have so many student loans and your rent is so high and you're spending so much money on just groceries and basic stuff. But if you follow a proper budget, if you have an Excel sheet and you know how to manage your credit especially, you can take care of all of that. Some of my friends even took a bunch of their money and took a trip to Mexico now, which was totally out of my mind, because in my wildest dreams I couldn't do that because I didn't have enough money. But if you plan it properly, that's definitely a possibility. They were able to arrange the whole trip with just 2 weeks of their savings from on-campus job. So if you're smart that way, you can definitely do it. It took me some time to realize it, but once I realized how I can do it, oh my god, it changed my life. By the way, if you think I missed out something, please let me know in the comment section below. Maybe it can help others as well. And one thing I really want to tell you before I actually let you go is, a lot of students, especially like me, who are like, hey, I don't need a chair and table, I'll just go to the library and study. It is not worth it. Buy a damn chair, buy a table. If nothing else, if you're not going to study, at least you will dump your clothes on it. And that itself is worth the $5 or $10 you're going to spend for it, because it's going to be useful for the next 2 years. So don't be that stingy. All right. I hope you guys are now better prepared with your finances and don't actually face a shock when you land up here. You'll still face a shock, but at least less of a shock if you have watched this video completely and took some away from it. Now, if you find this video helpful, do not forget to leave me a like. I really appreciate that. And do not forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. I try to make these kind of videos every once a week, or at least I try, or whenever I get the time, all right? Till then, peace.